enough is enough. Erling Haaland is a joke. His goal-scoring exploits have seen him make the Premier League. Can't even say it. A Farmers League. His prolific strike rate has got us wondering if he can actually be stopped. He must be able to, without injuring him. Before you'll start with that one. So in this video, we're going to discuss how you actually stop Erling Haaland. Right, so let's have a look at this season so far. And if you can hear drilling, it's because the neighbours are doing an extension right now and there's nothing I can do about it. Do you want the video or not? Let's carry on. So Haaland this season has been taking the piss in front of goal when it comes to finishing. The big Norwegian currently averages a goal every 0.39 shots. 39% conversion rate, that is. And seeing as he's taking 4.49 shots per 90, it means he's scoring at a very frequent rate. That's putting it lightly. To be exact, it means he's averaging 1.91 goals a game, and this is only in the Premier League. He's also got 5 goals in the Champions League and is averaging 2.2 goals per 90. In that competition, it's all, frankly, a little bit too much. Okay, someone needs to stop him because at this rate, he makes me want to throw up in my own mouth due to his superhuman ability to score in front of goal. I'm not saying it's a nice image. Now, before looking at what he's done this season, let's take a moment to reflect on how good he was at Dortmund and why this form he's displaying now shouldn't be at that much of a surprise, actually. Rory. So here we've got, that was harsh. I mean, everyone's having a go. Can I not? So here we've got ourselves a goal map from his time at Dortmund. The key thing that we need to highlight here is the concentration of where his goals are coming from. For example, the majority of his goals are coming from central areas within the box. In and around the penalty spot is where we expect to see Haaland picking up the ball. And when it comes to being a link man or target man, yes, he can do the role. But the real danger is that he's a box sniffer. And he likes sniffing boxes for goals. Again, let's have a look at his heat map from last season. He had a clear focus on remaining central, which would then allow him to always position himself in dangerous areas to receive the ball. And this season, it's been largely the same for Haaland. The Norwegian striker has been remaining very central and he doesn't really concern himself with anything other than taking kickoffs and then going and finishing chances. Haaland plays the percentages, right? And he makes sure his chances are as easy as possible. And that is very easy when you're playing for Manchester City. He's almost a bit narrow-minded to an extent in how he only does one thing, but he executes it to perfection. One thing worth highlighting here is that he's scoring quite a few goals at the back post in the 6-yard box. He has a specific movement pattern that is not only executed to perfection by Haaland himself, but is also understood so well by the Man City players like Kevin De Bruyne, who's a key part of this. And a lot of those goals that have come at that back post have been from that movement from Haaland and then that exquisite passing range from Kevin De Bruyne. Like drawings, here's one. So this here, very simply and crudely, I might add, is one of Haaland's aces in the hole. It's so simple, but it's something he's been exploiting for quite a few seasons now. You can see here very beautifully and clearly that he always wants to target that back post area. But he's also both, exquisite in the air. He's also willing to make those runs with that pace and power that he's got. So he then ends up scoring those goals like he did against Manchester United in that 6-yard spot, but at the back post. What Haaland does so well is that he reads defenders' body shape and body language to understand when he makes his move. He often works in the blind side of defenders, and whilst they're square on marking and ball watching, he's on the move, he's on his toes. So when De Bruyne plays the ball into the danger zone, there is no chance he's not going to be getting to it. And I think I spoke about this in terms of that hunger that he has on the fallout last week. That Foden goal, that last goal for Foden when he scored his hat-trick, again, Haaland plays that pass and then very quickly gets up. And this is to score the 6th goal. 6-1 it would have been. But that hunger, he is absolutely insatiable. So this is something we have to consider when we're talking about how to stop Haaland. The thing is, with this movement Haaland makes, it takes a very astute and switched on defender to have the presence of mind to always be on the swivel when it comes to this movement. A defender might be switched on and wary of this movement for 89 minutes of a match, but it's for that 1 minute that he switches off that Haaland pounces, and that's why he's elite. And then you add on to that the fact that Man City are so good and the game is spent 70% in the opposition's third, not half, final third. And then again, the concentration levels have to be pretty high. Get on with it, James. So how do we actually do this? Now, there are two crackpot theories here to stop him. One, play a high line. Two, do a Bournemouth. That's right, I said do a Bournemouth. Right, let's start off with the high line. So playing a high line versus Man City. And before I get into this, I know you can pick hole in all of these. Feel free to do so in the comments below. But at least I'm trying. It feels like most defenders aren't right now, okay? So playing a high line versus Manchester City is a very daunting prospect. Understood, okay? Not only is it daunting, but it's also a lot harder than it sounds. Because with Man City's ball dominance, that's right, I sound like Jesse Marsh there. Ball dominance. No, I'm going to go American people. They talk differently. I enjoy it, okay? But because of the ball dominance, the composure in possession and overall quality all over the pitch, it's always going to be a tough task, okay? However, I wonder if a side that commits a lot of players forward, such as a Brighton under De Zerbi, Arsenal, or maybe Chelsea under Graham Potter now, they could potentially force Man City back at times, or back a little bit more. The theory behind playing a high line is that you stop Haaland from picking up the ball in the box as frequently as you try to play the match in the middle third. However, and there's a few howevers in this video, however, the problem with this is that not every side can do this, which subsequently means not every side has the means, quite literally, to stop Erling Haaland using certainly this method, because you need to be good on the ball, because Man City are elite when it comes to pressing themselves, and because they own the ball so much, they have the fitness and stamina to really get at the opposition as well. Let alone, that's before you even start talking about Bernardo Silva and his work rate. Another problem with this is that you might be stopping Man City from camping in and around your box. Sounds naughty, doesn't it? But a problem you don't solve is Manchester City's overall brilliance. They actually, believe it or not, you won't believe this, they have other players aside from Haaland who can score goals. Foden, of course, is in wonderful form right now. Grealish is looking back to his best. And of course, KDB would revel at the chance to play against a team that allows them space in transition. So playing a high line versus Man City is a gamble, but maybe a side like Arsenal could do it. We spoke about Brighton as well. Newcastle, I think, showed that kind of chutzpah, especially at home against them. And this is a game plan that would potentially be fire versus fire when it came to Arsenal versus Man City, and it's a match that could end with a scoreline of 4 versus 3. I'm not saying anyone's as good as Man City if you go toe to toe, but what it would be an element of variance, and you'd be choosing essentially to go up against De Bruyne, Foden, Grealish, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, as opposed to going up against Haaland, although of course Haaland can run in the channels brilliantly as well. But at least you're keeping him away from the goal a little bit more, or at least attempting to. Or, as I said, you could do a Bournemouth. That's right, do a Bournemouth. Doing a Bournemouth is essentially playing so ludicrously deep that you effectively try to defend your 6-yard box as opposed to defending your 18-yard box. We see here from their average positions against City that this is what they tried to do, and okay, they were the only side to stop Haaland from scoring, but they also conceded 4 goals. And the problem with this one comes that from sitting so deep to try to negate the space in the box, you end up leaving Zone 14. That's right, Zone 14 relatively unaddressed. And when this happens, you leave yourself open to the likes of KDB, who scored and assisted in this game, and just you allow him to run the show. So in summary, the moral of the story here is that there might be a way to stop Haaland via a high line and really putting the foot down when it comes to attacking Manchester City and trying to disrupt their rhythm. However, not every team has the capacity to do this, and even the teams brave enough to try it put themselves at risk of conceding 7, 8 or 9 goals possibly. Playing ultra deep isn't really going to work either, because even if it does stop Haaland, it won't stop the other Man City players who have been dispatching low blocks for years. So to all intents and purposes, Haaland is unstoppable. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Make sure you subscribe for more insight like that.